Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 79 of Serendipity. This one is titled The Troubles of Fame. I assure you we aren't going to misconstrue your words, Mrs. Midoriya. We only want to... No, that's all you do. Lie and spread rumours that hurt people, you said, your voice starting to crack with emotion. I'm sorry, but this conversation's over. Don't call again. And with that you hung up, shaking and angry. It was only 10:30 a.m. and you were already done for the day, fed up with people, so you packed your things and went home without telling Deku, and flopped down on your side on the bed as soon as you got there. It was only a second before you were fast asleep, and later, you weren't sure how long, you woke to Deku calling urgently for you. Here, you called out groggily, raising your head from the bed as he raced in, worried about you. What happened? Why didn't you tell me you were coming home? He asked, checking you over for any signs of injury. I don't care anymore. Everyone just lies and runs their mouth. I'm done with it, you mumbled in a depressed voice as you let your head drop back to the bed. Deku's brows furrowed with worry. It was all starting to get to you. We need to go on another holiday, he said softly, laying down behind you and wrapping his arm gently around your tummy. You still weren't showing yet, but he knew that's where his little one was growing quietly away. I don't want to go to work, you said sadly. I don't want to talk to anyone or see anyone. He nodded and kissed your shoulder, snuggling with you for a little bit before getting off the bed. I'll ring in and tell them you're not coming in for a bit, Deku said. You're the most important person to me, and I want you to be well and happy. Thank you, he said in a soft voice, snuggling back down to the covers and drifting back off to sleep again. As the baby grew, your body took a hit, energy-wise, and every chance you got to sleep, you would. So for the next week or so, you just stayed at home and slept and ate, while Deku went about his usual work. Because you weren't taking any interview bookings or other bookings, the magazine started to really speculate that there was growing tension between you and your husband, seeing as the news had gotten out about how you'd snapped at the editor that day, before everything went quiet. You were none the wiser to all of this chit-chat, as you had promised Deku that you wouldn't listen to any of those types of programs, so you were in your own little happy bubble while the rest of the city chatted and gossiped about you and Deku. Deku had heard the talk and knew it wasn't true, so never bothered to clear it up, but everything hit the fan when you went back to work that following week. Feeling much better as you neared the 4-month mark, you had the smallest little baby bump, and although you couldn't see it clearly under the clothes, you found yourself constantly touching it to make sure it was still there. Your energy had come back, and you had a definite glow about you as you entered the building proudly that morning. People greeted you politely, but with a little reservation, and you tried not to think too much about it as you walked to your office, telling yourself that they just had lots to do and was so not into engaging in lengthy conversations. That morning was a little awkward, going back through the calls that you'd missed while you were on your leave. You had wondered how you'd be able to face anyone from any magazine again, since they had all stopped calling now. You just assumed that they had heard about what happened with the editor of Heroes Daily, and you were about to call him and apologise when Deku knocked on your door. How are you this morning? He asked tenderly, slipping into the office and closing the door behind him. Better, you said with a smile. Would you like to get a hot chocolate with me at morning tea? He asked. I don't have any plans. You giggled, feeling a little bit loved up. Let's do it, he said with a smile, giving him a hug and a little kiss. He grinned and went back to his office, so you got back to work. Around 11 a.m. you got up, ready to go to the cafe on the corner with Deku, but he was in a heavy conversation on the phone, so you motioned to him that you'd start walking and you'd meet him there. He nodded, and you left, walking by yourself down to the corner cafe. As you entered, you saw the headlines of the latest newspaper as they sat in a row against the back shelf. Is this the end of the hero couple? It read. Full story on page 4. Your curiosity piqued, wondering if it was about you, so you sidled over to it and pulled out the newspaper to have a look. Flicking to page 4, it was all laid out before you. Everyone thought that you and Deku were going to break up, with irrefutable evidence that you had cracked it. In one of the pictures they had taken of you, they had photoshopped a rehabilitation centre in the background that you had supposedly just left after spending a week there. They just don't give up, do they? You thought angrily. I was going to apologise for talking to the editor like that, but what's the point? They don't deserve an apology. Further down the page it talked about how you had lashed out at the editor when all he was doing was calling for an interview because he was excited about the pregnancy announcement. She was quite wound up and rude, he stated in the article. Me? rude to him. I was straightforward, but I wasn't rude, especially after he had rung how many times? Feeling your blood boiling, you slammed the newspaper down on the table and turned and stormed out, when Deku turned up, bumping into him in the doorway. "Yin?" he asked in surprise, as you tried to push past him. "What's wrong?" "I'm going home," you snapped. "I can't stand it anymore." He turned and watched you go before chasing after you down the road. You were so angry that you didn't speak until you got home, and then you just exploded. "How dare they say stuff like that?" you raged, pregnancy hormones taking the reins on this one. "Insensitive, rude, stupid people." "Wait, I don't know what's going on. Did someone say something to you?" Deku asked worriedly. "The newspapers, they..." "Yin, but baby, I told you not to look at the newspapers." "Why do they always lie?" you yelled angrily. And there ends chapter 79, just checking. Stay tuned for chapter 80 coming tomorrow.